Today, not only are we opening the Albaz Strike structure deck, we're going to take two more of them and combine all three to make a deck. So the Albaz Strike structure deck, this is the most anticipated structure deck of the year, and I can say, just looking at the back, reading the card list, there's a lot of stuff that is something that I want personally as a reprint, and it is in here. So without further ado, let's just get cracking. First things first, let's actually take a look at this playmat that it comes with. This paper playmat, you know, most people don't really keep these, but it gives us a good insight of what a potential future playmat might look like at perhaps a big event. If they make a structure deck event, then this could be that playmat, and I can say right now, this is going to be one of the most gorgeous ones out there. Really beautiful contrast with the fire and the ice. You know what? Something to look forward to in the future, I can say that. And let's take a look at the cards themselves, or let's unpack this. This is pretty easy to unpack. Let's take a closer look at these cards here. So we have Tri-Brigade Mel Courier, Springen's Kit, the Golden Sword Soul, Mirror Jade the Iceblade Dragon, Lubellion the Searing Dragon, Branded Fusion, the biggest game changer. This card is going to make the Branded deck insanely good. Branded Sword, Branded Retribution. We have Fallen of Albaz, Albion the Shrouded Dragon, Dogmatica Fleur-de-Lis the Knighted, Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, Thunder King Lightning Strike Kaiju, Chaos Dragon Levianeer, Radiant, the multi-dimensional kaiju, Artifact Scythe, everybody's favorite artifact. We have White Dragon Wyvern Burster, and of course, if there's White Dragon Wyvern Bursters, there's got to be a Black Dragon Collapse Serpent, Starleech Safer. There's a lot of stuff key to Dragon Links in here. If you're planning to build a Dragon Link in the future, I mean, this deck's kind of got you all covered, if you know what I'm saying. Then we have Keeper of the Dragon Magic. We have Summoner Monk, Ghost Ogre, and Snow Rabbit. If you need to pick up your copies of Ghost Ogre to activate stuff during your opponent's turn with this card, this is fantastic. Effect Veiler as well, very key component to the current format. We also have Omni Dragon Brotar. Yeah, lots of to be honest, like lots and lots of Dragon Link pieces here. Now, Branded Lost, this is a very powerful continuous spell. Branded in white, Branded Bond, Fusion Gate, Fusion Recycling Plant, Fusion Substitute, Gold Sarcophagus, a Pot of Extravagance reprinted. Look at all these fantastic cards, guys. Call by the Grave, hands on one of the best quick play spells in the game. Dark Ruler No More, one of the best normal spell cards in the game. Screams of the Branded, Judgment of the Branded, Necrofusion, one of my favorite fusion trap cards we have back to the front. Warning Point, there can be only one. Dimensional Barrier, very useful card, especially with this deck coming out. And Waking the Dragon. And now we go into some fusion monsters. We have Titaniclad, the Ash Dragon, Brigand, the Glory Dragon, Sprint, the Iron Dash Dragon, Albion, the Branded Dragon, and we got some tokens here. We have Albaz the Shrouded, and there's a little bit of a story to this. Does his name refer to something buried in the past or too bright in the future? Or then we have Ecclesia the Exile. I thought these were going to be foil, but hey, these are still really interesting. I believe these come as a pair. Let's actually look at it like this. They go together. And of course, we have the Tri-Brigade. Wow. Ready, aim, or they're ready to fire. Okay. We have the Virtuous Vestal. Hey, that's this is the pair. I believe this is Ecclesia, and that's probably Fleur-de-Lis. We have Aluber the Dogmatic. This is a sign that you're probably going to want to get your hands on Aluber. And yeah, this is a really, really nice looking token. I mean, I'm going to use these tokens. I mean, this is probably better than the tokens I use. So, that would be the deck itself. Now, let's take two more of these and build a deck. Okay, time to put my deck building skills to the test, guys. and this is going to be the triple structure deck build. If you guys want an even better build, well, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and check it out when I do the branded Despia build of this deck, which is something that everyone's super excited about. But if you're going to be playing triple structure deck, and this is probably the way to go. So we start off with triple Springen's Kit. This card's able to search for branded Fusion, one of the key cards in this deck that makes it super powerful, one of the most sought after card, and you want to see this card. There's ways to search out this card as well. I'm only going to go over the common use effect of these cards. They all have multiple effects, and you can even special summon out this card. Okay guys, so yeah, that's how I'm going to describe it. There's going to be more effects on each of these cards as well. Next we have Fallen of Albaz. This is the key fusion material that we have, and upon normal or special summoning, you can even fuse with your opponent's monster, but just be reminded that you do have to pay a little bit of a cost by discarding a card. Luckily for most of the fusion materials in this particular extra deck, it's either Fallen of Albaz plus something with a generic parameter, and it's pretty easy to meet those parameters, alright? Next, we have Albion, the Shrouded Dragon. This is a card namely for resource management control, because we can send some of those branded spells and traps into the graveyard for its cost, or you can send a Fallen of Albaz, and depending on where you send it from, if you sent it from your hand per se, then you'll be able to special summon out the card. If you send it from the deck, you'll be able to bottom deck the card and draw a new card. So that's how this one works. Next, we have Tri-Brigade Mail Courier, and we even have a Golden Sword Soul. Both of these cards have something that activates in the hand if you control the fusion monster that lists a Fallen of Albaz. Namely, this card, I would banish it, because if you banish it, you get to add a monster that lists Fallen of Albaz, which is fantastic for searching for Springen's Kit. As for the Golden Sword Soul, this is namely a more defensive card, but you can also use it in an aggressive manner, because if you banish a card face up, what you can do with this card is that you can banish this from the graveyard, and then you can special summon from your hand or graveyard a spellcaster light monster with the same attack and defense stat, which is only going to be, for this particular build, fleur-de-lis. So this is how you're going to be able to special summon out additional 3k beat stick. I say 3k because when you declare the attack, you gain 500 attack on all your Dogmatica monsters. So that's how I'm going to be working with this particular line. And one of the best parts about this particular structure deck is that it does come with a series of monsters that can activate in your hand, which is going to be Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. And on top of just having one, we're talking about double set here, and double some of the best ones, of course. We have triple effect Veiler as well. So your opponents are not going to get free effects just because we're playing triple structure deck. No, we've got a pretty solid core here, and just as a little bit of added spice here, we have Artifact Scythe. Yes, we are able to scythe our opponent, and we can send this card to the graveyard with branded fusion, because that's how this deck rolls. And let's go into our spell cards. We have triple Pot of Extravagance, draw power. Because of Pot of Extravagance, we have to max out on some of these numbers in the extra deck so that we don't lose all our fusion materials, all right, or end board fusion monsters. Then we have triple branded fusion. This card is insane. It locks you into fusions once you activate it, but it's okay since the entire extra deck is fusion, so we're never going to be hindered by this particular restriction. Then we have branded loss. This reminds me of Magical Meltdown because it has a very similar clause where your cards and effects that basically include the effect of fusion summoning, a fusion monster cannot be negated, and also your opponent cannot activate cards or effects when a fusion monster is fusion summoned this way. So that is going to be a very big add when you do the Albion line, where you go Albion fusion summon, or you branded fusion, get the Albion activates, summons another card. A lot of the stuff can't be disrupted, which leaves you with a very big board, and that's actually exactly what we want. We play one gold Sarcophagus for the Mail Courier to give us a free search, so this is essentially functioning much like a reinforcements of the army, but you know, for cards related to Fallen of Albaz. One Call by the Grave because it's limited to one, and this card is, well, really good for dealing with your opponent's Ash Blossom Joyous Springs and stuff along those lines. Then we have some more dedicated branded cards. We have Branded Bond and Branded in White. This is namely a polymerization for the deck, but you can also fuse from the graveyard if you're using Fallen of Albaz from your hand or graveyard, so that's really good. Branded Bond is much like comparable to a Monster Reborn, specifically for Fallen of Albaz, I would say, because you special summon a Fallen of Albaz that is banished or in your hand or in your graveyard. That's why it's pretty good. And during the end phase, if this card is sent to the graveyard to activate Fallen of Albaz, aka his own fusion effect, you'll be able to reset this card, which is And on to the trap cards. We're going to start off with a branded sword. This is just for a surprise mass token attack, because if you banish all of your branded spells and trap cards in your graveyard, you can summon a token for each one, and they all have 2,500 attack points and 2,000 defense, and that's going to be a lot, and you can push pretty hard with this. Next, we have one branded retribution, the counter trap, essentially an omni negation, which can hit for spell and trap cards or monster effects as long as you control a face-up fusion monster or 2 fusion monsters in your graveyard, and if you do, well, you get to negate the activation and destroy that card, and you can banish this card from your graveyard to add a branded spell or trap card back from your graveyard to your hand, which can help you get branded fusion back, which is fantastic. Next, we have backs to the front. You guys might be wondering what's this for. Well, you can just bring back some of your fusion monsters, or you can summon out Artifact Scythe. You know, Artifact Scythe, you know, you can probably skip your opponent's turn if they're really reliant on the extra deck, therefore they're not able to develop anything on their side of the field. And we have a little bit of floodgating. After you look at our extra deck and even some of our main deck, we don't really play too much of matching types overall. Like maybe except for Albion and Lubellion, but aside from those two, most of it you can probably work around, even with there can be only one. And we play a pair of warning points just to slow our opponents down from using their extra deck once again, and also negating effects. For the extra deck, we have a full 15 cards. However, most of these are repeats thanks to Pot of Extravagance, because we don't want to lose every single copy of our fusion monsters. Starting off with Triple Albion. This is a fusion monster that basically leads to another fusion summon. It banishes from the hand, field, or graveyard, and you get to continue to make your fusion plays. Very similar to that, we have Lubellion, which kind of does the same thing, but instead of using your stuff to banish, instead you can take the banish, the field, the hand, the grave, and you can put it back into the deck, and that's how you're going to be performing your fusion summon with this one. No real other additional effects on those. Now we have an actual boss monster here with Mirror Jade, the Ice Blade Dragon. It just provides you additional banishing, and this one requires a different material. It does require you to use an extra deck material as the second name on top of the Fallen of Albaz, but it's a quick effect, so it's going to be very, very useful. Then we have Titanic Clad. Typically, you would dump it into the graveyard and then trigger its search for the Dogmatica stuff. However, this time around, you might actually perform the summon to actually summon this monster out. And just remember, upon the summoning of this card, some people just completely forget that this card gains attack equals to the original levels of the monster used for its fusion summon, time 100, and after the fusion summon for the rest of the turn is unaffected by anything that's special summoned from the extra deck. So that's a pretty big bonus for this card, and something that some people typically forget. And then for the remaining 3 cards, we have 1 Sprind, the Iron Dash Dragon, and 2 Begrand, the Glory Dragon. As you can see, most of these monsters, these are beasts, these are machines. They're not really dragon. They're named dragon, but they're not an actual dragon, all right, guys? So this is our lineup of monsters, and a lot of these monsters, once they're sent to the graveyard, they are going to special summon out Fallen Albaz during the end phase. So just keep that in mind, all right? And that's all I got for this video, guys. If you guys enjoyed this video, smash that thumbs up button. If you guys want to see more stuff from MST.TV, hit that subscribe, ding that notification bell, and good luck with all your upcoming branded Despia builds, your Albaz builds, whatever builds that you guys are going to be going for. I'm looking forward to seeing how it's going to change up the game. And until next time, I'll see you guys in the next one.